Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome to Item 9 Gaming. Today we have a very special interview for you guys today. Um, very big fan of the brand. So, Graham, let them know who we have on today's show.
Guys, we got a extremely important and special guest. Our main man here has been reporting on the tech video game industry since 2009. The founder, CEO of Northern Arena. This is Canada's largest esports organizers. And not just that, the creator, executive producer of a bunch of shows on Jinx TV. I'm talking Squad State, Retake, Heads Up Daily from back in the day. The Game Show Awards as well, too, he's also responsible for. And guess what? He's owning his own esports team, Mirage. We're talking to Carl-Edwin Michel. Give it up, big bombs.
Hey,
bomb. Don't know. How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, especially to hang out and talk with someone such as yourself. In the beginning of each one of these interviews, we kind of like to warm it up, talk to our guests, and say, "Yo, what games are you playing this week? What's been going on in your personal game wheelhouse, man? Tell us about that. What have you been playing?"
Oh, wow, this is going to be funny. Recently, I didn't have the time to play a lot of games just because I was just like super busy. But I've been playing Super Mario Tennis with my son, doing some Super Smash recently, and then he was like, "Hey, Dad, let's just jump in Super Mario Tennis." I was like, okay, let's do that. So I'm taking a little bit of time with him, but yeah, man, like it's been busy recently, so not a lot of gaming just for me, right?
So yeah, we wanted to talk to you about yourself, about how you got into the games industry, coming from that broadcasting background, and if you can just start us off with that, with your journey into, I guess, video gaming and then esports specifically in gaming.
It's a cool journey, I hope. But my background actually is computer. So I studied computer science, started as a programmer, and then started to, work with a team where I was managing a bunch of programmers for different software that we were building. And then at some point got the opportunity, because I'm originally from Montreal, born and raised, got the opportunity to move to Toronto, and actually not Toronto first. It was actually Sudbury and then Toronto, working for TFO, which is the TV French Ontario, so TVO.
Got to work somewhere out north first if you want to be in this industry.
It's all about going outside to in.
Yeah.
There you go. So I did that, and then yeah, I got the opportunity to. So I remember back in the days, I was always going to one of the director of the show, and I was like, "Hey man, like, have you seen this latest gadget, like this phone? It's so awesome," and blah blah blah. And he was like, "Listen, man, like, you love technology, you love game, you express yourself pretty well. Like, would you like to have a segment on our show?" And I was like, okay. So they gave me a screen test, and then they're like, "Hey man, you were great. We loved the screen test. We would love to see you back for the show." And I was like, "Oh, this is cool." It's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's a live show, so prepare for that." I was like, "What?"
Like with the way you pivoted towards tech, did you find it was very useful to have those sort of already coming from a broadcast like background and a technical background?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like, that story that I told you is actually an important and pivotal moment in my life, because the fact that I got put on that show to be their tech and video game expert, created what, for me, I think is the most important thing, is relationship and those connections. So at that point, I had to connect with brands, with the Samsungs, the Apple, and the Microsoft, and say, "Hey, you know what? Like, I have a segment on that show. I need content. I need to talk about things. Can you send me the new phone? Can you send me the new whatever, the laptop, or the new game, so I can talk about it on TV?" So then it opened those relationship to me. And when in 2014 I was approached back then to produce the Canadian Video Game Awards, I told those guys, "Hey, you know what? Esports is a thing." Like, back then, like, people were like, "What is this?"
Exactly. Yeah.
It was kind of like this is crazy. And we're watching people play video games, like, no. And I was like, "Guys, like, there's really a market for that. We should definitely do something about it. And they listened to me. They said, okay, we'll give it a try. So in 2015, we had like a small tournament before the Video Game Awards, just to showcase it. And those relationships that I had built when I was doing that little segment on that show came handy, because at that point I was like, hey, I need a sponsor. We need computers, whatever. Like, and then I was just a phone call away.
Like this inception of the idea of Northern Arena, like kind of come from, like was like, hey, I'm gonna make the space for people. Like, when did you first take that on?
I think for me was, so what happened is, I was watching a lot of Twitch and a lot of esports tournament, and everything was pretty much either in Asia, in Europe, or in the States. And then in the States, it was still kind of like, it was there, like there was some stuff. I was like, hey, there's an opportunity here. I have a platform with the Canadian Video Game Awards to do something special. There's not a lot of major esports tournament. Point there, again, like there's nothing in Canada, right? Like there's a few grassroots events and stuff happening, but nothing mainstream. So I was like, hey, that would be really cool to have something like that in Canada. So that was kind of the goal. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's try to create that platform where we can have an opportunity for people that are playing, have that path to pro, and to be able to get access to a bigger, a platform, bigger tournaments, bigger prize pool, exposure to other brands. Like that was kind of the goal. It was just like, hey, because we have a lot of talent in Canada, and a lot of those actually were leaving to go to either Asia or to the States or to Europe to compete and to be able to do what they love, because there was nothing like that in Canada. So that was the main goal at the beginning. I was like, hey, let's try to do something. If we don't push, and we're not trying to do something for the community, who would have done it? And that's why I was like, okay, you know what, like I have the opportunity, relationships, I have a platform, let's just try it. If it fails, that's fine, but at least we're trying it. We announced it in 2015. 2016 we did our first event at the in Toronto at Fan Expo, and then the same year, at the end of the year, we did a big event at the Bell Center in Montreal. So it's like, from there it was just like boom, 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 boom. So again, nothing is perfect, but I think that we've tried our best to create a platform that is giving the chance to players to compete and hopefully go to the next level. So, and not just players, but also people in the industry, because we do have like commentators, behind the scene, all of those guys. I see them now working for bigger corporation or bigger entities, either in Europe or in the States, and I'm proud, because I'm like, hey, they started at Northern Arena.
Impressed by the whole thing. It was like you brought this sort of high production broadcast to esports in Canada. Like it was very accessible. We were seeing lots of, again, how you were saying, there's lots of different streaming platforms, and there was lots of different commentators, and it was just, to me, it was like the biggest thing for esports happening like at the time. So I think that's where a lot of people would love to see the industry grow. I think in the last year, we've seen a lot of movement in terms of getting more events going for Black game developers, and I think that's great as well. But I also wanted to ask, in terms of like the current situation of the world, in terms of resources for people of color who want to get into the industry, what would be the best way right now, I would say, to sort of put your foot in the door and to network? As we know, there's not a lot of in-person events anymore. So it's a little bit trickier, but I would want people to see that, there's still some stuff you can do,
Yeah, for sure. There's some stuff. I mean, there's so recently there was the Black Mixer. So that was a diversity conference. I Interactive Ontario did one also. It was the same day.
Yep.
Well, there is a few initiatives that are happening, which is really cool. But I would say, sometimes you don't have to wait for other people to do it. Like you guys, you can go on Clubhouse and create a room and bring all kinds of people and talk about diversity, and hopefully it sparks something in to someone, and they want to do something about it, right? I think that yes, it is difficult right now because we cannot meet face to face. I mean, I guess we're doing it virtually, but it's a little bit more difficult. But I think that people are a little bit more aware now. And I think that you'll see things moving a little bit faster to create that diversity in the space. So I realized that it was not necessarily for me, and then I find my own path. But what's going to be super important for me is that diversity, because I realized, because I was so focused on like just doing my thing and like that's my thing, I just want to make it. Then I realized that hey, every like around me, there was not a lot of people that were looking at me, right? Man, like it's a little bit unfortunate, yes, but there's so much more. Like gaming is really diverse. Like the player base is really diverse. So how come we don't see that as much in the people actually making those games? And or being part of the industry as interviewers like you guys, or there's so much more to that industry, right? So that's going to be for me super important going forward to push that and to give a chance, or to hopefully opening doors. I'm not saying we're moving mountains here, but at least we're trying to make things happen to create a little bit more diversity in the gaming industry. That's going to be super important for me, and I'm going to start even this year by announcing at the Canadian Game Awards, because we created we brought again Game Awards. We're going to announce that we're going to have 2 different categories that are going to be specifically about diversity in the gaming industry, and what those companies that are saying, yeah, we want to do something about diversity, really doing? Are they really doing something? And if they are, well, we want to celebrate that. And if there is people of colors, or women, or transgenders that are in the industry and are doing great things, well, we want to put them forward.
I think you had one more, right?
I think there's one more thing I kind of want to talk about. There's one more thing I kind of want to talk, because there's some plans going on in the city.
Oh yeah,
there's some pretty decent sized plans going on in the city coming up the next few years. And I have to tell you, where do you think you're going to see yourself with Mirage, with everything that Northern Arena is, with the new infrastructure of Overstate Media bringing in a new stadium specifically or tailored to more esports stuff? What do you see that sort of infrastructure investment in your industry, our industry, doing for the city and doing for yourself?
Yeah, I think it's important. What Overactive Media has been, and by the way, it was super cool, because I knew about this project like 3 years ago. I was like, yeah, that's great. We need that. The reason why is there's so many venues in the city. To have a venue that is specifically for esports and for video game in general, I think that's going to do a lot of great things. And you saw when they announced it, it moved the needle, right? Like we're like, oh wow, okay, well, wait a minute, and now we have to take gaming seriously. Like they're having a stadium. For us, for Mirage, for example, like right now, I'm sending my guys to Las Vegas. We just got a house for the Rainbow Six League. It's great because it's there, so we have to. We want to have, same here, we want to have a facility in Montreal, because we, like, Mirage represent Montreal, right? We want to make sure that we, I'm not saying that we're going to have the same stadium as Overactive Media in Montreal, but what I'm saying is it is moving the needles, and it's going to be that conversation is going to be easier for me when I'm going to approach someone and say, hey, we want to do something like
Thank you so much, Carl. We really appreciate it. Why don't you let the folks at Item 9 Gaming know where they can find your content, look at more Mirage stuff, more Northern Arena stuff,
where they can support anything you got coming up.
There you go. You try to. I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, check us out. First of all, Squad State. So squadstate.com. We have a website. You can see all our cool articles and links to our videos. And then obviously mirage.gg. You need more information about the team. And then Northern Arena, check us on social media. Everything at Northern Arena. That's when we announce all our new tournaments, all our new initiatives. We're about to drop some stuff on FIFA actually soon, tomorrow. We're about to drop like a bunch of tournaments in the next weeks or so, and yeah, so our schedule is pretty much filled until the fall. So so a lot of exciting stuff are coming.
All right, sounds like a good slate, a good season.
Amazing. I know I'll definitely be checking it out. Have to brush up on my my Mortal Kombat skills and my Rainbow Six Siege skills.
It's the corners, the siege in the corners, man. Coming from a Call of Duty guy, I'm scared of them corners, boy. I tell you,
it all goes back. It all goes back to item 9. You know that, girl.
You already know. You already know.
Yeah. So once again, we'd like to thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you being a fan of the brand, and we'll just have to catch you on the next podcast, because we'll definitely love to have you back
exactly.
here. So again, for the folks listening, Item 9 Gaming, it's the bee's knees.
Shout
and
it
until
out.
next time, we'll see you folks all later.